So, welcome, Paloma. Thank you so much for doing this talk today for the Goa School. You always do it for the batches that come into us to do the immersion program. But today, I thought it would be really important for us to record it because you have so many messages for us as the world, is in this really tense sort of space where there's been now a big war going on involving many countries for a month now, as we speak. So, and many people are worried about this. It's going to impact all of our lives in different ways. I heard today that it's also going to impact our healthcare chain, for example, the way that MRIs are done, all sorts of chips are made in a lot of the electronics that we use. And of course, we all know about the price of oil and agriculture and things like this. So now, the reason I think your story is very important is that it actually started at the time of war, and everyone will hear about this in a while. But it's really about how you built your resilience personally through the whole process and where you are today and how you deal with uncertainty in the future. So we'll have a little chit chat about this today. And thank you so much for joining us. Welcome, Paloma.
Thank you so much, Madhuri. So yes, the topic that I would normally do for the fellows of the Goa School would be about sailing through uncertainty. And I normally start with telling them of how my journey started when I was younger, and I grew up in Kuwait. And when I was about 13 years old, we actually had the Gulf War that took place at that time. And that was quite a difficult time because being so young, not knowing what was going to happen and whether we were going to make it through that scenario alive was very scary. So I remember the day that it happened. My mother came and woke us up and said, "Y'all are still asleep, and Kuwait has been invaded by the Iraqis." And the thoughts going through my head at first was like shock and confusion, but then as it kind of settled in, it was really more worrisome about would we survive? And that kind of uncertainty is very scary because you don't know what's going to happen. And what I tell the fellows at the same time when I talk to them is how there are different types of uncertainties that come through our journey in life. And each one is different, each one teaches us something. And through each one, we also become stronger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, thank you for that. Couldn't be a stronger start in the sense that you were at the very tender age of 13 pushed into the deep end of this whole survival thing, right?
Yeah.
And so when one thinks about today, all the children who've ever been through war, and all of the families who are struggling to keep things together during wartime, that is like perhaps one of the most insecure times that a human being can go through. So of course, therefore we say all war is bad. Um, so what happened from there? Because actually, the way I remember you telling the story was that propelled you into actually doing lots of things, and in a way that you were able to build your resilience through it. So could you explain like so what happened? Did this mean that your family had to come back?
So no, actually, I mean, we actually did try to come back, but it was very difficult to leave the country safely. And so my mother decided that we would stick it out, and I think through a lot of prayer and a lot of their resilience. So just seeing that in them of how they, like, of course, we all understood that we couldn't eat the same things that we always ate. So we had to be a bit more smarter about what we ate, how much we ate, um, you know, even reducing how much water we used. And because there were water shortages, at some point there was no electricity, throughout food was a bit of a scarcity.
Yeah.
So just using our means, working with the neighbors. So it did make us resilient. It made us a lot more stronger. It made us think about how we can do things better with less. And so that did kind of make us grow up. So
Yeah.
even though I was 13 at that time, I think it aged us a lot faster. and you see things differently. So you start to make calculated choices and decisions. So I think in that way, it really helped us become more street smart also.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's an amazing point, because I think during war and times of scarcity, one thing that does happen is that, families have to do with less.
Yes.
And of course, in our country, we have so much poverty that sometimes, we say that there's a war all the time, right? Because scarcity is almost a way of life.
Yeah.
But now comes a time where it's possible that in the next few months we'll have to do without several of the things, even not being in the war, but being impacted by it.
Correct.
We do without several of the things that we're already used to. So, for example, we don't know yet, but maybe sometime in the future the government could say, oh, we need to ration our petrol, or we need to ration some parts of our food. I know that my parents and grandparents, when they talk about coming out of the Second World War, sugar was such a scarce commodity. And I can remember my aunties coming for tea. I think I've used this story before. Coming to tea to my house and looking at the sugar in the pot and saying, "Wow, this is such white, crystalline, beautiful sugar," and and that's what about it is, because they all went through this whole time of scarcity, right? So for them everything was precious, and they grew up like that. So that's how they are even today,
Yeah.
right? So tell us more.
So, I mean, during the war, like, we had to lift buckets of water up flights of stairs because
Yeah.
it wasn't being pumped in. We tried to store water like in whichever containers that were possible. So it made us stronger as well, and we didn't have school obviously. So my dad was quite strict and made sure that we studied because education is very important.
Yeah.
So, which was great because so after the war, we went back into school, and luckily we didn't have to wait back a year. So we went forward with the other students. We didn't lose out.
Right.
So that was great on his part. And after we finished our education, next was college. And so college, like, is another kind of uncertainty as well, because you're wondering now, who am I and who do I want to become? And the choices at that time were quite large, and now for young kids it is even larger. So my parents always told us, do what you enjoy doing, because if you enjoy doing it, then it's not really like work. It is something that you'll always enjoy and give your 110% almost doing it. And so looking through brochures of different colleges, I found a place that I wanted to go to and went ahead. So I first went to Cyprus and did my hotel management, and then my parents were advised that, like, Switzerland is very good. So luckily we were able to they were able to send me across to Switzerland and continue my hotel management. And so I think, with the support of family and with the right guidance from different people, again, you can make your decisions even though you feel uncertain, like, as to whether it's the right decision or not.
Right.
And then, once you finish your studies, you have to find a job. And again, that becomes very difficult, like which hotel line to go into.
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of branded hotels and a lot of unbranded hotels. Yeah. So making the decision or the career choices based on, again, what is it that you really want to do, and like what kind of a growth projectile you want to get into.
Projectile.
Yeah.
Now it's bad word.
I know.
Trajectory.
Trajectory, sorry. Yeah, but I will change that.
That's okay. Yeah.
So, kind of, in which direction you want to go into. And so there again, I took some of the help from my friends that were in college with me to think about, like, where we wanted to do our internship. And so, having advice is great. You kind of have to kind of decide your own pros and cons.
Right.
So that decision is always yours, even though you do take advice from different people. See what is best, kind of like, for you.
But you're right, though, Paloma, in the sense that when you're growing up, you kind of don't trust yourself to make a decision yet, right? So, which is why guidance is so important.
Yes.
But I think as you go through life, and when there's a little bit of that, which is also your own metal, like your own gumption, right? Where you push through despite the odds because you just have to somehow make this work, right?
Correct.
And the sacrifices you make at that point, or the decisions you make, I think, is what grows you as a person, right?
Yes. And so I think when I was like in one of my first jobs, I kind of understood that even though you may have made mistakes in your choices, there's always another choice that comes later on that kind of brings you back to where you wanted to be in the first place. So though the choices that you make, you always have like two paths that go out, and even though you choose one path, that path then leads to like another two paths. And so whether you knowingly or unknowingly, you kind of land up wherever you're meant to be.
Yeah.
So that was one of the great things. And then when I started working, I had great bosses, and they were um, very supportive. And sometimes when I didn't think I had it in me to do a particular job or to move to the next level, they were the ones that supported me. So sometimes you might feel that you're not ready yet or you're not there yet, and someone says, just do it, and you should really just take that advice and do it.
Okay, and have you had any times when you didn't actually agree with the boss? I wonder, and did that like send you into a total flap?
Well, of course, I mean you can't always agree with your bosses,
Right?
but yes, there were times when I remember like I was in charge of a bar, like a nightclub, and the costs were like through the roof at one particular point. So I was taking over that particular bar, and for some reason we couldn't, or at that time I thought we couldn't manage why those costs were so high. And my boss kind of put his foot down and said, "No, you've taken charge and you're responsible for it." And I said, "Well, you're the one who put me in charge. I didn't want to do it." But he just said that, I believe that you can find a way to get it done and, manage it. And so I think, sometimes you don't really agree, but you then again have to use your cunning, you know, take advice again and just try and find the right thing
You're
to
smart.
do. Yeah, you're
And then
smart.
what would you then say that you like because you have your own set of ethics, right?
Yes.
And if you're ever feeling compromised in your ethics, then you know how hard is it to go through a crisis because basically then you're saying that I've been wronged in some way or I'm representing the others who've been wronged, and then like does it get even harder or does it get somehow easier to go through a crisis once you get back in touch with your own ethics?
So I think when sometimes when you feel that the justice has not
Happen.
happened the way that it should have happened, you do feel very wronged and very hurt.
Yes.
So you try to see what best you can do in that particular situation, because you can't always win, and you have to understand that what is in your control, what can you manage,
Right.
and whatever you can manage, that is really only what you can control. So sometimes things are really out of your hand,
Yeah.
and you have to just understand that there may be a reason that you're not really privy to at that particular time, and
Yeah.
that is why it's happened.
Yeah.
And later on it may make better sense, or later on you actually just may be better able to deal with it
With some time and some
with some
distance.
time. Yes.
Yeah. And then the important thing is to always leave things in a civil manner because and to leave communications open because
Yes.
if you sort of if either party behaves badly in terms of saying this is a hard line, you've crossed it, or stamping their feet, or leaving in a half, or whatever it is, or the equivalent of all that, then it's very difficult to re-establish communications and to get back to a particular
Absolutely.
space. And this is actually, at the root of all conflict, whether it's within countries or whatever. I mean, now, they're talking about two countries trying to find an off ramp, right, in the war, which is basically this: how do you de escalate? So that actually happens at the interpersonal level as well, right? Which is that something is getting heated because neither party agrees on something,
Correct.
right? And yet, and that's what creates uncertainty, not just for the two of you, but for everybody around you. Say you're part of an organization or whatever it is. So then the thing is that you have to take your off ramps to de-escalate, take time and distance, huff and puff in private or whatever, and then bring some water or whatever, de-stress. I think they also teach anger management in some cases. Shake your fist at the air if you like, go out of the room, come back, and then try and be as civilized as possible. And also because what happens is when there's a disagreement, the content of the disagreement is probably valid on both sides, but the reason you can't get through it is because one or the other side is huffing and puffing so much that then you're objecting to the huffing and puffing rather than to what is actually the actual
Issue that's at
issue
hand.
that you have at hand that you have to sort out.
Correct.
So yeah.
Yes, I think you make a very valid point about how each person has a different point of view, and
Yeah.
both sides are valid. So sometimes it really requires you to look at it from the other person's point of view,
Yeah.
because technically y'all can both be right. There
Yeah.
are many ways to handle a different situation, and there are many ways to come up with a solution as well.
Correct.
So that is something that
Yeah.
is quite important.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. All right. So that's great. So now tell us about after that, after all your work in your various positions where you had to adapt and um grow in all of them. Then you had another big change, right?
Yes. So,
Okay.
being in hospitality, I actually started in front office, like in reservations and front office receptionist. Then I thought, I wanted to learn something else about the hotel line, so I moved into food and beverage service, and there I grew from from F&B, handling a restaurant, to handling a bar, then handling a nightclub,
Wow.
then handling multiple outlets, and moved up to the position of a food and beverage manager.
Mm.
And handling operations was very exciting, but also it's kind of tough on your body because you're working different shifts
At night.
and at night, late
Yeah.
nights. And then I thought, maybe I wanted to get back into something that's more stable. So I moved into training, which is a more reasonable, but I'm still interacting with staff and helping them to grow, which
Yeah.
I started finding very fulfilling. Is being able to train someone and then see them do well, and then for them to grow.
That's very nice. Yeah.
And then I moved back to India and worked with a couple of hotels and properties here. And then I met Jonathan,
Yeah.
my partner,
Yeah.
and we started our own business. So that was a new leap, because when you're working for a company, there's always that kind of security that you have, that everything is taken care of. You get a salary every month as long as you're working, and everything is good. But then when you start your own company, it all lies on you. You have to do all the hard work to get it off the ground, and so we started it, and unfortunately at that time COVID came around
Yeah.
and knocked us back down to the ground. So we had just started, and then we had to restart after COVID. So during COVID, we realized that, fine, we have no job, we have no business, and what do we do?
Oh no. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So let's just start from COVID again. But I have a question for you in the middle, though. That is, when all this happened, and you realized, for example, that you were taking up all this physical stress of working at night, etc. Did you also realize the importance of taking care of yourself through all
Yes.
these stress situations?
Yes, so definitely in hospitality, taking care of yourself is very important, because you work long hours, you forget to drink water, you don't eat on time, or you don't eat at all. You work different shifts, or break shifts as they're called. So, yes, I think health became something that was very important, because you realize that you might be doing the best for someone else,
Yeah.
But if you don't take care of yourself, you're no good to anybody. So, and that is what I would tell like students now and young people in the industry, because we still go out and train at different hotels. So we always tell them, like, food, sleep, water, very important.
Basic,
They're
yeah.
just the basics. I
Yeah.
mean, if you can get exercise in, that's even better. But let's just stick to keeping everyone healthy.
That's so correct.
Yes. So yeah.
Okay, so COVID now.
Yep.
COVID was this big bang that happened that, you started, it happened to us at the Goa School as well. You start
Yes.
a venture and then suddenly, the whole pitch is queered by all sorts of factors you could never dream of.
Yes.
Right. So how did you go through that?
So everything kind of went online for some time, but as everyone realized, there was a lot of burnout for being online. So we were teaching at that time, and it became very difficult to hold someone's attention for so long online. So we actually decided to kind of sharpen the saw, as they say. So we took up quite a few courses where we learned different things. Like we taught ourselves video editing. I did an English language course. We did multiple courses online, and you realize that in a downtime, or when you maybe don't have a job, or you're in between jobs, sharpening the saw and just making you a better, I wouldn't say product, but like a better, what's the word?
Perhaps.
A better, a better professional makes
To
you more
upskill
wanted.
yourself, yeah.
Correct. So upskilling really helps to make you more desirable in the job force or in the workforce. So keeping your skills up to date with all the things that are happening
Very important.
is very, very important. And so when we were back to work, I think those were one of the things that really helped us, because we had all these additional tools or skills in our back pocket that we could just pull out whenever we needed.
Yeah.
So and in business, you always have to keep looking out for different opportunities, because like things change at any point in time, and again, we live in a very uncertain world.
Yeah.
So just always be ready and be open to opportunities that come across. You can't say, I can't do this, or I won't do this.
Yeah.
Because if you practice it for a little bit every day, you're definitely going to be able to do anything you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
And even if you started off on a wrong path, you can always right that wrong. So opportunities are always there. That's
always there.
something about life. It's very forgiving.
Oh, sweet. That's a nice way of putting it. No, that's absolutely true. And if I may just add from my own experience here, is that sometimes you look like you're sailing along, but in fact you're furiously paddling under, like a duckling or whatever.
Yes.
Just to keep that appearance of sailing along. And the thing is that you do have many things to do, and when I got to a stage where I found I was doing too many things, then it made a lot of sense to start saying, okay, no to certain things, because certain things you can't take on your plate, because that just gives you far too much stress, and it impacts your health, it impacts your well-being, etc.
Right.
So you have to actually gauge where you're at. And certainly, I mean, things like upskilling also require time, it also requires investment. So it's something that you can do when you're getting a bit freer, perhaps, and or taking on different things at different stages of your life. So yeah, I mean,
but like upskilling also, you don't have to do it like online. It's just even observing people. Like, so observation is very important. You can learn from anything and anyone. So even if you're watching a movie,
exactly,
you can just learn how to maybe have a conversation, learn how to negotiate.
Yeah.
So even that is a skill.
So even when you start noticing one thing, then it comes up everywhere, right?
Correct.
How other people do it, and yeah, I agree there. Yeah. Absolutely.
If you go to the markets, you see how people negotiate the vegetable sellers and so on.
Yeah, it's totally different to how we would perhaps, but yeah, the basic thing is the same. Anyway, so this is really amazing. I mean, I think the way that you've described your journey and the way that you've talked us through all of these uncertainties that you've managed to literally sail through, and you keep sailing through, is hopefully going to help a lot of youngsters who've been listening and been perhaps worried about the environment to understand uncertainty is not a new thing,
Yes.
right? But as you grow older, you start facing more and more of it because perhaps you're shielded for by your parent or somebody else as a child, or you're too busy playing, or you don't actually know how the world works. And the more you learn about how the world works, the more stress it can give you,
Yes.
perhaps. So yeah, I mean, the thing is to just take it one day at a time. So perhaps our closing segment should really be about this other little gratitude thing that we talk about often, where other than de-stressing and trying to figure out your priorities and all of that, um, it's always very helpful to take out time to actually be thankful for everything that we've received up to now,
Correct.
and that they say is something that it lifts your spirit. It allows you to come back with more strength for the next day. And it doesn't have to be a religious thing. I mean, in fact, for you, I remember when we did this exercise with everybody in the Goa School Fellows one. Once you wrote, "I'm grateful for coconuts and I'm grateful for chocolate." So you can actually be grateful for so many things
So
in
many
your life.
small things.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we also have a saying which is count your blessings. Remind yourself about the positive things in your life. You can thank yourself for your family. You can thank for your own skills and strength that have brought you this far.
Right.
Maybe your partner, maybe your children, or maybe the place where you're living is still secure. Things like that. Things that you're still able to do and get done on a daily basis, and that gives you somehow the strength to carry on.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much. Let
It's
us.
a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Not at all. It's been lovely. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.
And all the best to all.